always thought doctors didn't know what they were doing, but now I got proof now, because if you've been watching TV lately, you have certainly noticed that every other commercial on TV is one of those prescription drug ads. Right? Apparently we're supposed to tell our doctors what to prescribe for us. Like that Prevacid commercial, they're like, ask your doctor about Prevacid. Now, shouldn't your doctor know about Prevacid? Isn't that the guy's job? It's like, yeah, there's nothing we can do for you. Oh, what about Prevacid? Hey, you know, you're right. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Now, how many milligrams is good? Did it say in the commercial? I didn't see the commercial.
Love with the Phil Spector Wall of Sound. Phil Spector had that sound for all his groups, the Ronettes, Darlene Love, the Crystals, they all have that. They called it the Wall of Sound because it was so loud and penetrating, and that's one of the songs. It's 7:07 at WRJN. Showers today with a high near 39. Maybe some more tonight. Lows 37. Cloudy with a high near 42 tomorrow. Rain on Sunday with a high of 43. And the sun's back out on Monday. Partly sunny with a high near 41 degrees. Again, it's 7:07 and cloudy and 43 degrees in Racine. And welcome our guests. We actually have 5 people here today. 4 in the studio. 1 hanging from the chandelier because we don't have enough room. But we want to thank Carlotta Miller is here and Robert Mayer are here from the 16th Street Studios, the old Von Schrader building. People don't know. And if you pass it all the time, you'll know, because if you have something on your radio, sometimes the signal goes out when you pass by. I don't know why, but it does. And the 16th Street Studios have their annual open house this Saturday. First of all, that building, and move a little closer to the microphone. I've got to hear every word you two have to say. That building used to be an industrial building at one time, and it was converted over to studios in like an artist colony almost, right?
Correct, yeah.
Give us a little bit of the history of that building.
Well, it dates back to the mid-19th century. I'm going to go ahead and
you don't have
defer
to whisper.
to...
You can yell out. You can yell out.
Jim Mercier.
Yeah.
Jim Mercier is here. And so what do you have there?
All right. Well, actually, the original occupants, Don, was the Racine Wagon and Carriage Company, and they moved here in the 1870s. They made farm wagons, spring vehicles, delivery vans, surreys or carriages, and things like that, including sleighs. They made just about all of their parts as well. They hardly outsourced anything. They merged in 1903 with the Satley Company from Illinois and became known as the Racine Satley Company. By 1910, however, automobiles were outpacing wagons and carriages, but they didn't want to participate in this newfangled invention called the automobile. So by 1910, they stopped all production of wagons and buggies and et cetera. In 1916, the building was renamed the Racine Industrial Plant because they became the first business incubator in the entire country. And actually, many Racine firms got their start here, including Dumore, Modine, Webster, and quite a few others.
And that's the history of it. You sure?
That is the history of it.
Okay, turn that mic back now because I got to hear what these two have to say, every word of it. Tell us about the open house this weekend. Now, I've been in there. There was a restaurant at one time that I went to, and I heard the restaurant's not there anymore. It was a very nice restaurant. My wife and I went there for lunch, and we walked around the building, and you look in these little cubbies, and you see artists set up with all their wares, and there's still some manufacturing there. They still do that. But it's not a big plant anymore. It's individuals. I don't know how many are in there, but it's got to be a lot because it's multiple floors. And so tell us about the open house coming up this weekend.
Well, this is our 27th annual open house, which just is providing a rich, diverse group of artists that are going to be able to, really show their focuses and the efforts that they make. We have up to, is it like 70? 70 artists. Not all the artists are going to be open for the open house, but we have a large contingent of artists and craftspeople that will have their studios open, and it's just such a rich experience because of the diversity of the different types of artists that are within that building.
The ones that aren't open, do we egg their doors? What do we do? String toilet paper all over? What do we do to the people that aren't open up?
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us some of the people that are in there that we're going to see.
Oh, well, we have a number of people that are in there. We have ceramics people. We have 2D people. I'll let Robert talk about the ceramics people.
We have 5 ceramic artists, and what's really great about these individuals is the diversity, again, of the work that they produce. It just ranges from sculptural to functional. One ceramic artist is a production artist who has just really taken off with his company. It's just the best of all possible worlds when it comes to these types of diverse artistic expression.
Now, let me just remind people, this is the old Von Schrader building. It looks like an old cream brick manufacturing building right there on 16th, and it's not Memorial. I forget where the intersection is on there.
Racine and, isn't it Memorial?
It's a Memorial in 16th.
Oh, is it Memorial and 16th?
Yeah.
It's right there, right where that truck crashed into the house this morning. I don't know what that was about, but it's at that corner.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that didn't look like damage to the house. It looks like the truck got the worst of it, but we'll find out later on. It just happened before I got there. Anyway, so it's there. The open house, you can park on the street. Is there other parking? Is it around back or something?
There's free parking all around the building and out on the street.
Okay, good. So that's good. Plenty of parking. What are the hours for the open house?
From 10 until 4.
10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and that's this Saturday.
This Saturday, correct.
Not Sunday, though.
The second, yeah.
Okay,
A one-day event.
Okay, so that's tomorrow. Wait, today's Friday. Yeah, that would be tomorrow. 10 a.m. to, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down.
4.
10 to 4. You were going to say something else. I see you got your paper out there.
Well, in addition to sculptures, we have many two-dimensional artists as well in our building. We have painters painting in oils, acrylics, watercolors, and mixed media. We have printmakers, cartoonists, collage artists, quilters, photographers, stained glass artists, weavers. We have something for everyone to see.
And this is like a hidden gem because people are driving down 16th Street and have no idea what they're driving by. You know, when you're driving by S.C. Johnson, you can see the Golden Rondelle, you know what's going on there. But this building, to look at it from the outside, you say, ooh, it looks kind of ominous. But when you go inside, it's like a hidden gem in Racine, and people don't even know it's there. So that's why you're having the open house tomorrow from 10 till 4.
Well, and to your point, I can't tell you, I've done open houses now for 5 years, and I can tell you that almost every event, someone comes up to us and says, I never knew you were here. It's like we were the best kept secret in Racine County, but it's we look forward to a very, very strong turnout. It's free admission, free parking, and it looks like the weather's going to cooperate.
Yes.
Yeah, it won't do no snow. That's what we're happy about. Anytime people say, well, it's raining, but it's not snowing. I could deal with rain. I put my windshield wipers on. I'm good. It's the snow. Swing that around to Jim Mercier for a second there. Because, Jim, you have something coming up this weekend as well. The Spirit of Racine Entrepreneurs Exhibit. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we have a nice museum inside the Racine Business Center, which is now it's what it's now known as. On display, we have a number of old Racine memorabilia, including some of the original products from the old Racine Wagon and Carriage Company. We have a buggy there, a doctor's buggy, and we have an old wooden sleigh, which is on display. And there's a number of old signs that many people from Racine might remember. We have the old original Nelson Dime Store sign, which is on display, as well as the Dania Hall sign. In addition to that, we have a lot of old phonographs that were made in Racine by the Blandon Phonograph Company, a number of toy hobby horses or rocking horses, I guess. We also have a 1932 original pinball machine, which was made inside the building, one of only 2 known to exist. There's a candy-making machine there. We have a ton of old Racine political posters and circus posters. an old original fanning mill and a silage cutter. Weary Luggage, we have a number of their products there, and a ton of stuff more. So if you like Racine's history, that's the place to be tomorrow.
Now, where is it in the building?
Actually, it's on the second floor. It's past the old Shea Bob's Cafe.
Oh, I love that place. That was good.
It wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away, of course, already, but he was always known for his very delicious meatloaf sandwiches, among other things. Mm-hmm. But sorry that. However, there will be a business inside that the old cafeteria. That's going to be Chit Chat. I think they were there last year too. They're going to have Pakistani food and Italian food.
Yeah, they're right there on State Street. Their main restaurant.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that sounds like, and this is all free. There's no charge to come. And if you love memorabilia, if you love arts, you got everything in there. I mean, except Metallica, the band's not going to be there. But other than that, you've got everything else in there. And I'm glad to see there's going to be some food there as well.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be a wonderful day. So if you're sitting at home tomorrow and you say, nothing to do, you do have something to do. You don't have to worry about that. You wanted to say something else there? I saw you thumbing through your papers. Was there something else before we get to the book?
I just wanted to reiterate that we do have food tomorrow, Chit Chat. And,
okay.
And please do come visit. The artists are willing to talk about their work and really look forward to the public coming. It's a great space.
And you can go into the actual rooms.
Correct.
I hate to call them cubbies, but they're like small little rooms. Studios, that's perfect. Yeah. You're going down the hallway and you see one, there's another, and there's a lot of them. So plan for a couple of hours on this trip.
Yes.
And when you go in the building, where do you go as soon as you walk in? Do you take the elevator? Do you walk up?
There's two access points. Both of them are on 16th Street. That'll get you into near the office area, which will have an elevator. And then farther to the west, there's another entrance that, again, off of 16th Street, that will allow you to come in and either use the stairs or the elevator. And there's going to be people that are going to be
directing you there.
Yeah, moving around to offer help or assistance or give people ideas as to what they may want to check out.
Okay. That sounds like great fun. We're going to talk about a book called Lost and Found in Racine coming up in just a moment. So the open house is at the 16th Street Studios, the old Von Schrader building, and it's tomorrow from 10 to 4, free admission, free parking. Bring the family, bring the kids. They might be interested in this. Who knows where the next artists are coming from. So it's going to be great. That's tomorrow here in Racine, right there on 16th Street, all right? Hey, coming up, we're going to talk about the book Lost and Found in Racine. That's straight ahead here at WRJN Radio. It's 7:19. I'm Don Rosen. Look for showers today with a high near 39. Right now, it's cloudy and 43.
Yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a Christmas, make the Yuletide gay.
That's actually from a movie, and it's not a Christmas movie either. They show it at Christmas time because it's got this song in it. That was Judy Garland singing to Little Margaret O'Brien in the movie Meet Me in St. Louis. And there's just one scene of Christmas where she sings that song, and they kind of turned it into a Christmas movie because you have one of the biggest selling Christmas songs of all time. They're going to do that. We have our special guest now. Jim Chaussee is here. I got to laugh because you said, when you see the name, I can see where people have trouble pronouncing it. What'd you say the worst pronunciation of your name was?
Chaussee.
It's Chaussee. I don't know where they got Chaussee from. It's got a CH at the beginning. Where'd they get that from?
I have no idea.
Now, you just tell me you were a detective in Mount Pleasant, was it?
That's correct.
For how many? Bring that microphone. I want to hear every word you have to say.
27 years I was there. I retired 19 years ago.
Okay. Well, 19 years of retired. Look like a young guy. When you
Well,
retired?
thank you.
Retired when you were 25?
No.
Okay.
I retired at 50.
And you became an author.
I did.
And you wrote a book, Lost and Found in Racine. My wife and I are reading books written by local authors about Racine. And we're reading one now, and I can't remember. Can you close that door back there, Stu? Because I can hear them talking. No, the other door. Just close that door. It'll be fine. About somebody growing. We couldn't figure out the year until he said, we went home that day to watch Uncle Milty on TV. Well, now I got the year that this whole thing was written. What is Lost and Found in Racine? What is it? What's it about?
It's a biographical look at two of the Lang boys from Racine, Elmer and Charles. They grew up in Racine. It's set in the Depression era. The book covers pretty much 1936 to about 1942 actively, and then a little bit after that. They were both aspiring artists and writers, and had limited success in local shows, showing their art at women's club art fairs in the 30s and high school art fairs. They both went to Washington Park High School and graduated from there. They struck out on their own, left Racine periodically, kind of using a hobo life, jumping on freight trains, going around the country to different places, trying to find work. And of course, during the Depression, it was very tough. So they sought money basically by doing freelance artwork, sketching your portrait in the park and trying to get a quarter to survive for the day. About 25 years ago, I inherited a large group of paintings and drawings from Elmer and Charles. And it's kind of a weird story how that all came about. They were all thrown out in the trash after the last of the family died, and the remaining relatives took everything in the house and threw it out at the curb. A friend of mine who was a neighbor rescued all of these items from the trash and ultimately gave them to me shortly before she passed away. They were over 200 paintings and drawings from Elmer and Charles, and that kind of set me down the rabbit hole, if you will, trying to do the research on them and find out more about these fantastic artists that nobody had ever heard of. So I worked on it for about 25 years off and on, and it was really the pandemic confinement that allowed me the opportunity to sit down and finally put pen to paper, if you will, and get the book started and get the art all collated and scanned. And then find a publisher. I ultimately went with Lulu Publishing, which is a self-publishing outfit.
Let me just quick say, all the artwork's in the book.
It is. Well, I'd say
most of it.
A lot of it that's Racine-centric is in the book.
And just to look at the pictures and the artwork in here is wonderful.
Well, they were phenomenal artists in their own right. Even the picture on the back of the book of First Presbyterian Church was done by Elmer in, I believe, 1936.
And you found all this artwork, huh?
Correct. And I still have all of the original artwork.
Wow. I'm looking at it now. A lot of people will recognize a lot of these pictures. Oh, that's the same one on the back right there.
Yeah, a lot of the places are still standing, but unfortunately, a lot
some are, they're not all here. These are not all at Racine, but most of them are.
Right, right. There's some pictures in there of places that are no longer standing that older folks like Jim and I might still remember. The Crosby Mansion is one that stands out, and some of the other businesses, and the Capitol Theater is in one of the drawings that he did from the 30s. The Capitol was over on Washington Avenue, just east of West Boulevard.
It's not the park. Was that the park theater?
Yeah, originally it was the Capitol Theater.
Then it became a karate studio.
Right, and now it's an empty field.
Oh, they knocked it down. That's right.
They tore it
was
down.
Condemned, yeah.
Right.
Oh. Well, then I'm a big movie theater fan, and I followed them, including the park. Oh, yeah, I know they had to knock it down because of...
It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was a very soundly built building, and I think if it had been maintained properly...
That's the problem. You let, Even in my house, I mean, we're doing thousands and thousands of dollars worth of plumbing again in the house because you got to keep, the old plumbing ain't what it was back in 1900. They came up with innovations. So the story is based on true people.
It is.
Real people.
Yeah. They lived at 1522 Grove Avenue here in Racine.
And how'd you find out about these two people?
I just started doing the research. I knew the names and I knew some of the family members. That's Elmer. Iggy. Yeah. His nickname was Iggy, and he's on the cover of the book. That's a self-portrait that he did.
How do people get this book, by the way?
They can either buy it through online at lulupublishing.com, or they can see me at the open house on Saturday. I'll have copies of the book. Autographed, inscribed, whatever you'd like. Nice Christmas gift for the Racine fan.
It must be great to feel like you're a published author.
Well, it's something I never really thought would happen to me. And when I sat down to write the book, I thought, my gosh, I really don't know anything about writing a book. And I thought, well, I've written thousands of in-depth, long police reports. So how much different can it be? So I decided to write it in first person, just like I would have, any other, major crime investigation I was doing, and put it down kind of like Joe Friday writes a book, and just the facts, ma'am, and put it all down and try and make some sense out of it.
The book is called Lost and Found in Racine. Doug Chaussee wrote the book. He will be at the open house from 10 to 4 at the old Von Schrader Building, 16th Street Studios. Yeah, Jim.
He'll be at the Spirit of Racine Entrepreneurs Exhibit, right inside our museum. He'll be there.
Floor number 2.
Floor number 2.
Yeah, second floor. Okay.
Yep.
Doug, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks
Best
for having me.
of luck to the book. I mean, that's really good. Lost and Found in Racine. There were a lot of books written around Racine. You wouldn't think so. Want to thank our first guest, Carlotta Miller, Robert Mayer, of course, Jim Mercier, and Doug Chaussee. Again, how did somebody pronounce your name once?
Chaussee.
I'm going to think about that later on today. I think
Chaussee, O'Shaughnessy, I mean, you name it. I've answered to just about everything.
All right, coming up, we're talking movies in just a moment with Brett Hoffman of Marcus Theaters. We'll have him on the line. Then we'll talk to our news director, and we'll find out a preview of the Packer game this weekend. And he's on Taylor Watch to see if Taylor Swift's going to show up at Lambeau Field this weekend. And that's Mike Clemens. It's all here at WRJN Radio. It's 7:29. News headlines next.
Children sleeping, snow is softly falling, dreams are calling like bells in the day.
Okay, Brett Hoffman, what movie is that from?
Oh, gosh, Don, you've got me stumped.
It's a Christmas movie. It starred Tom Hanks. He played 5 roles in the movie.
Was it The Polar Express?
The Polar Express. Yes, it was. I love that movie. I actually have a 3D version of it on DVD. I know it was released in 3D. They did the whole works on that. I love that film, even though the animation's kind of creepy looking. They remember the animation in that film? It was done with that motion capture technique where they had had these guys with wires all attached to their bodies, and they're kind of creepy. But it's such a great movie with great music, and that was Josh Groban, Believe, from the movie The Polar Express. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. So there's plenty of movies out there. We're just off of Thanksgiving, and obviously we're rolling right into Hollywood's December/second holiday season leading into the Christmas holiday. So things are great at the movies. There's plenty to see and plenty for everyone to enjoy.
And this week we have 4. And by the way, the Christmas season wasn't always the big holiday season. That was a dumping ground for movies back in the early 60s at Christmas time. And all of a sudden it became that, and summer became big blockbuster seasons. Okay, we got 4 new films opening up this weekend. Let's go to them.
That's right. The first one, it's a big one. It's probably going to be number 1 at the box office. It's Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. In October, I think Taylor Swift caught us all by surprise, and she announced that she was going to be putting out her last tour on the big screen. That was Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. It became the number 1 concert film of all time. I think people really enjoyed it, and they saw, hey, we can see these types of experiences in a movie theater, and it can be fun. We can be together. We can talk. We can stand up. We can dance. They used a movie theater a little bit different than seeing a regular movie. And the same thing is being done with Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. And in this one, Beyonce obviously performs at her record-breaking Renaissance tour. And there's also a lot of kind of behind-the-scenes stuff and a look at how she creatively masterminded the whole tour, how they planned it, how they went through it. It's a very good film, and I think people should go watch this. And remember, this is not a film where you have to be quiet. This is not a film where you have to sit, just sit in your seat the whole time. This is a film where we encourage you to get up, to dance along with the music, and just have fun with your fellow moviegoers. So that's Beyonce, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce.
Are we going to see a lot of concert movies now, or is that it for now? You know what's coming down the line.
Well, here's the funny thing. What a lot of people don't realize is we've had a lot of concert movies coming to the big screen. But in fact, usually they come as what we call alternative content events, and they're 1 or 2 night events. They're with bands that are very popular. Truthfully, they haven't had bands with this big of a draw at this particular time, like Taylor Swift or Beyonce, that merit running for entire weeks at the box office. But take a look at what your local theater is showing. We're showing concert films all the time as limited engagements, and it's a great way just to see, a concert. If you can't be there, it first of all gives you another perspective, because a lot of times you're sitting, how many rows back, you're sitting in the upper deck. This gives you kind of that feel like you're right in the action in preferred seats, and of course, that big screen sound is absolutely spectacular watching these films.
All right. What's the next film opening up?
The next film is another good one. I think this one caught people by surprise. It's Godzilla -1. So it's set at post-war Japan. They're at their lowest point, and a new crisis emerges because there they have it. There's this giant monster, the form of Godzilla, and it's been baptized by the horrific power of an atomic bomb. This one's in Japanese. It has English subtitles, but if you take a look at this is being heralded as one of the best Godzilla movies ever. It has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, 97 from audience members that have seen it. It is a great action movie. It is a great Godzilla movie. Give this one a chance. A lot of people may not have heard about it, but it's going to be up there in the top 5 of the box office as well. And it's called Godzilla -1, and should be a great action film, and is being very well received right now.
I saw the trailer online for it the other day. It's not like the American ones they made in recent years. This is a great-looking Godzilla. They went back to the original Godzilla, except it's not the man in the rubber suit like it used to be. I thought this was great the way they did it, and I did notice they were speaking Japanese. The original Godzilla movie from 1953 was in Japanese, and it was such a big hit, they Americanized it. And the next year they had Raymond Burr come in and do some inserts into the movie, and they dubbed the movie. But TCM always runs the original one from the early 1950s in Japanese, and you're seeing the original, and it's so much better. So when they do the subtitles, it's worth it, because you get to see it the way it was made, not what some English distributor decided how it's going to look. So that's good. Godzilla -1. I can't wait. I've seen every Godzilla movie, including those horrible ones they had in the mid-1960s, the man in the rubber suit. Now, this one's good. I've seen the trailers for it. All right, what's up next?
Well, the next one is Silent Night. It's an R-rated action movie. It's directed by legendary action director John Woo. It stars Joel Kinnaman. He's a grieving father who's taking out his long-awaited revenge against a ruthless gang on Christmas Eve. So this should be a fun one. Again, it's getting pretty good critics' ratings reviews as well. This is a fun one. This is one of those movies that last year we had. Violent Night was one of the movies that comes out. These always come out early in December, but great fun action film on screen, Silent Night.
If you love them, you love them, and they must be loving them because they keep making them. Including this year, we had Thanksgiving. It was the only holiday left without a horror movie, and now that's taken. I don't think we have a 4th of July horror movie yet. I think that'll be the next one from Eli Roth. Oh, what else do we have? We have one more film coming out this weekend.
Yeah, the last film is The Shift, and this was produced by Angel Studios. And a lot of people know Angel Studios because they're the same studio that put out Sound of Freedom.
And The Chosen. The Chosen was there.
And The Chosen they distribute as well. But obviously, in terms of big screen purposeful releases, The Sound of Freedom took everyone by surprise. Now, this one's a sci-fi story. It's a sci-fi story of faith, and it takes a lot of cues from the book of Job from the Bible. And it's basically about a man who, after he meets a mysterious stranger, and basically gets thrown into this dystopian world and has to try to shift back to see his life and see where he actually was in the universe he actually was. So this one is actually doing some great business, especially from people that follow Angel Studios. They have a very good following. They have a network of followers that basically direct them on which films to make, and it's a very interesting model, the Angel Studios, if you want to check them out. But their new movie is The Shift.
What they also did was, although they released all their Chosens on streaming and DVD, they also brought them out into theaters, which was kind of different. Before they were released on DVD and before they streamed, they put them in movie theaters. And we've seen everyone they were able to have in a theater, we've seen in the theater. It's different than seeing it on the big screen than a little TV set. So we've seen theirs. And they just had one out recently about Afterlife. I forget what the name of the film was. Angel Studios put that out as well. And these are some guys from Texas who decided to make this Chosen series. And it was a like a Go fundraiser type thing to raise money to make these, and they took off. They made a boatload of money, and the big one was the one they had about, and you mentioned it, I forget the title, about the teenage sex trafficking.
Yeah, The Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom. Yeah. That made more than the Tom Cruise movie that came out, and also more than the what was there was another sci-fi film. I forgot the name of the sci-fi film. We went to go see it, and
it did tremendous business this summer, and the movie you were thinking about was called Afterlife, so that was the movie that was coming out. And then Christmas with the Chosen, Holy Night, their Christmas special is actually coming out in theaters in 2 weeks, starting on December 12th. They're going to be bringing that back for about a week.
And what's the name of it? What's the name of that one?
Christmas with the Chosen, Holy Night is their Christmas special. So they're putting that out December 12th through 17th. That will be at local theaters. So lots of things going on from Angel Studios, a studio that no one would have recognized up for a couple years ago when they started putting out The Chosen, then got it to the big screen. And then they've also shifted some of their attention towards putting out these movies to the big screen as well for audiences. And the audiences that like their content are certainly coming out and enjoying things on the big screen.
You know, I noticed something, too, that Angel Studios did, and we just went to go see Killers of the Flower Moon, and they did it in that film as well, where the director comes out before the movie starts and talks to the audience. Martin Scorsese did it, and the director of The Chosen did that as well. I think they did it for that other film that came out of teenage trafficking. They did it for that as well. They come out and talk to the audience and thank them for coming to the theater to watch this movie. Now, let's talk about Killers of the Flower Moon for a second here, because I loved it. I mean, 3.5 hours went by pretty quickly. When you could have a half-hour movie and it goes by in 3 hours if it's bad. A good movie in 3.5 hours will go by real quickly. And the acting in this, from Leonardo DiCaprio to, I forget her first name. Her last name is Gladstone. She played Molly in the film. I can't think of her first name. And also Robert De Niro in this film. It's a murder mystery. It's based on all the people are true. It's actual people. The events are all true about the murders of the Osage Indians who found oil on their land in Oklahoma. And now with the subject of being murdered, you have the FBI investigations, you have the courtroom drama, and you'll catch some cameos from some big actors in that film, like John Lithgow. And who was the guy who played in The Whale?
Brendan Fraser's in it.
Brendan Fraser, yeah. Brendan Fraser, yeah. And you see some people in there you might recognize. It's a massive epic, and it was all filmed on the exact locations in Oklahoma where the murders took place in the early 1920s. I love that film, and I'm telling you, if you still get a chance to see it somewhere, you got to watch it on the big screen. Killers of the Flower Moon. My wife at first didn't want to see it, but she said, "Okay, you want to see it? Let's go." And she liked it as well. And it's almost an edge, sitting on the edge of your seat thriller. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's basically a murder thriller. Almost like Columbo. What else we got coming out in future weeks? Any big, giant blockbusters we should be looking out for?
There's a lot of good movies coming out. People can look up for some great movies coming out, especially when you look into mid-December. On December 15th, you have Wonka with Timothée Chalamet playing Willy Wonka. This is kind of the prequel to the story that you know, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's how Willy Wonka became Willy Wonka. So that is an excellent film, which is coming out on 12/15. And then we roll right into the holiday season, and there is a ton of great products coming up. You've got Migration, which is an animated film being produced by Illumination. That's Universal's Illumination. That's the group that's done Despicable Me. They've done the Minions. They've done the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's a group about a family of ducks that's migrating, and it should play spectacularly for anyone young and old. And then you've got some other great films that are coming out that will just be spectacular because there's something for everyone during December. There is another version of The Color Purple,
a
which
musical,
is getting a lot of buzz. Yes,
it's based on the Broadway musical, The Color Purple. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that one comes out basically the week after Christmas Day and should be around there for that second half of the holiday season. Then another couple of other movies that I'm looking forward to. One is it's directed. It's directed. It's about the Washington State rowing team, and it's called The Boys in the Boat, and it's directed by George Clooney. And this is a great historical film, and it's about how this group of young men from Washington State basically made it to the Olympics in the 1930s and beat the Nazis. And it's just a spectacular story, The Boys in the Boat. It's based upon a best-selling book. And another historical movie that's coming out, there are actually two. One is called Ferrari, where Adam Driver plays Enzo Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
Penelope Cruz stars in that one, so that should be amazing. And then there's The Iron Claw, which is a wrestling movie, which Zac Efron stars in this one. He's one of the Van Erich brothers, and this is a famous wrestling family that just had a lot of tragedy go on a couple decades ago within their family. But it's a great drama. All of those movies are being talked about for awards, as things always do during the holiday season. So look forward to some of those things coming out. But right now, there's plenty of great films coming out, and there's plenty of great retro content coming out on screens too. Marcus Theaters has a program called Season Screenings, where there's plenty of movies out there this week and next week for people to go see retro movies. We talked about one of them.
Hold on a second. You got to save that because I'm on a hard break time here.
Okay.
Hold on a sec. I want to thank Brett Hoffman from Marcus Theaters coming every Friday morning. He's here, and we'll continue talking about the retro movies next week. Coming up next, it's sports at WRJN.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos.
The quintessential Christmas song, called The Christmas Song by Nat King Cole. Mike Clemens is here with sports. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of topics here in the next few minutes. And Mike, thanks for joining us from Green Bay today, right?
Yes. Matter of fact, covered practice last night where Packers got a pretty long injury list for this big game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And you're on Taylor watch to see if she shows up, right?
Listen.
What?
Here's the deal. I've got a friend who's been a producer for almost the entire run of Entertainment Tonight. He's like our age, okay? And he said, don't be surprised if some of these paparazzi guys that are based in Chicago get hired to stand outside your gate or whatever to get pictures of her, stepping off the Gulf Stream or, walking into the back door to the visitor's locker room or that kind of thing, because those pictures are going to be worth an awful lot. She's been, dating Travis Kelce, the great tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that's just here's the funny thing. There's a cute little story about the Green Bay Tourism Bureau. If Taylor's coming, well, welcome. Listen, here's a great place we recommend for a fish fry on Friday. And then on Saturday, there's a great place in town that's got Door County cherry smoothies. You do that. And then after the game, it's like, do they understand there's going to be a Gulfstream that's going to be landing at Austin Straubel Field, about 6:45 or so, and then a couple of police escorts and a black SUV that's going to pull up to the back of the stadium and she'll be escorted to her suite. And come on, please.
Taylor watch. Okay,
Right.
so we have a big game coming up. But before we do that, let's talk about real quickly here. The Packers win over the Lions on Thanksgiving Day.
Did you have a chance to watch some of the game?
No, I was one of those people who had to work that day.
Okay, understood. Well, the fact is, 37.5 million people watched this game. Highest rated Thanksgiving Day game in history. They've been doing this for 50 years for the first game of the day. A huge ratings win, and it's because the Packers scored early and often. It was a huge upset. Everybody thought Detroit, which has got a really good team, very physical team this year, they in 3. But the first play of the game, Jordan Love lines up and he throws a deep bomb to Christian Watson, who's had troubles catching those passes. That's what they brought him here for, 6'4" and 4.3 speed. And he catches it, and they go in and they score in the first drive, and they score a couple more times in the first half. And to his credit, first of all, you talk to Jordan Love, say, "Yeah, what happened on that play?" He says, "It's something we worked out a couple of times." He's looking at the sky, like, "What day is this?" Because it's Thursday. He said, "Yeah, we worked it out a couple of times yesterday, and Christian ran a great route, and we finally connected on a deep pass like that." Christian ended up getting, the first 5 catches of the game. He was all over the field and very satisfied with that. Matt LaFleur went to the podium and admitted that the morning of the game, he texted Jordan Love and said, "I'm having second thoughts about trying the bomb to Christian Watson." And Love texted back, "No, we're keeping that in." How about that? So that's how that play happened.
I want to tell you real quickly here, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. There was a game this past Sunday, where the Denver Broncos beat the Cleveland Browns by a score of 29-12. That was the score. Do you know what's significant about that?
No.
That's the first time in the history of the NFL of 17,500 games that a score ended up 29-12.
Well, how about that? Well, that screws up your office pool, doesn't it?
It's called scoregami. And there are a couple of scores that never were achieved in the NFL. That's now off the list, 29-12. Who kept track of that?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
And one more bit of fun fact for you here. Why does Major League Baseball require all umpires to wear black underwear?
I don't know.
Well,
because they crouch behind the plate.
And they split their pants, you won't notice it.
Maybe some plumber should do that.
They should just pull their pants up is what they should do. Okay, let's talk real quickly about the game this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs invading Lambeau Field.
The Packers, they've been doing amazing things with, getting better, improving, but then winning those last 2 games, especially against the Lions. And they're doing it with rookies in their secondary, Don. I mean, this defense was supposed to have Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes on the corners. Well, Eric's still coming back from a leg injury he suffered a year ago. Jair's been banged up with 2 different injuries this year. I think he might get on the field. But in the meantime, this rookie, Carrington Valentine, number 37, speedy guy, they might have made their reason to trade Rasul Douglas to the Bills because they had so much faith in this rookie, this speedy rookie. Another kid named Corey Ballantyne, he's been on the corners. Rudy Ford has been primarily their best safety this season because Darnell Savage, the veteran, has been injured. So the other day I saw him in the locker room. He still had ice bags on both biceps. He's got a biceps injury, but he's going to try and give it a go too. So you really need help on that secondary because Patrick Mahomes will run around back there for 7 or 8 seconds before he finally throws the football. But whatever if you're a betting person, you got to bet with the Chiefs. But the Packers, this young Packers team, is a lot more confident than they were a month ago that they could pull this off.
And real quickly, Aaron Rodgers says he might be ready in a couple of weeks. He was working out with the team. We just mentioned Aaron Rodgers because he still has a lot of fans here. He's working out with the New York Jets after that leg injury and a foot injury, and he is.
No, it was a torn Achilles.
Yeah, right.
A torn Achilles.
That hurts.
Well, usually that's season ending. You start talking about maybe next spring. You could get on the field and start.
Now, I saw him. They showed a video of him working out, and he said just before Christmas time he may be able to get in there and play for the New York Jets. So
yeah, but there was a funny meme that somebody put out, a little graphic that listed the 6 or 7 guys that have gone to New York that followed Aaron Rodgers there. And one guy, he's still on the roster, but he hasn't played. They won't play him in the games. Another guy's, had a lousy season, like Randall Cobb, like 3 catches. And so it's kind of like, maybe in a way it's okay that Rodgers has moved on because the Packers have got a variety of young receivers with a lot of potential. So.
And also, where do you hear the Green Bay Packers? You hear them right here on WRJN 1400 AM, 99.9 to 98.1 FM. And even if you want to watch it on TV, turn down the sound on the TV and crank up the radio. It's much better that way. Hey, Mike Clemens, thank you very much. He's in Green Bay. He's going to cover the game for Civic Media. Thank you very much, Mike. Have a great, safe weekend and keep us on Taylor Watch, okay?
Thank you, Don. I will.
Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you, Mike Clemens. Got a great staff here at Civic Media. I'm Don Rosen. I want to thank you for joining me today. We're back again Monday with another week, including on Wednesday, our anniversary special. You'll want to be here for that, all right?